Welcome to Nasdaq TradeTalks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us for this segment, we have Alex Miller, CEO of Hiro, which builds developer tools that bring Web3 to Bitcoin. He joins us to discuss the long-term vision for Bitcoin, including the potential opportunities and challenges that lie ahead. Alex, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Absolutely. Great to be here, and thanks for having me.
You got it. Explain what Bitcoin Ordinals are and the transformative potential of Bitcoin Ordinals. What are the implications for the future of the ecosystem?
Yeah, so ordinals are basically, it's a whole concept, but the system is basically the ability to store any data that you want as part of a Bitcoin transaction, right? And so previously, everyone's always thought of every single Satoshi, the 1/100 millionth of a bit that makes up a Bitcoin, as being totally fungible. All of them are the same, right? What it actually turns out is you can uniquely serialize them, you can trade them, you can move them around. And so all of this other stuff that's been built in other ecosystems like NFTs on Ethereum, not only can you actually build all of that on top of Bitcoin using ordinals, but more importantly, the data is actually stored on the chain, right? This is something that a lot of people miss a lot of times when they're thinking about NFTs and stuff, is the data is not actually on the chain, right? It's just a pointer to like a file on someone else's servers. With ordinals, all of that data is actually inscribed and is part of every single Bitcoin node, which just goes and reinforces that whole idea. One of the things that makes us so excited about building on Bitcoin is it's immutable, right? Everyone trusts it at this point. It's part of this network. It's not going anywhere. And now you can store whatever data, whatever information you want as part of those Bitcoin transactions and accessible forever.
The surge in Bitcoin, in global Bitcoin transactions, is important to network security. What does this suggest about the adoption of digital currencies?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is one thing it's really important as time goes on, right? There's two ways that Bitcoin miners make money. The first one is what's called the block reward, right? So whenever a Bitcoin block is mined, about 12.5 Bitcoin are awarded to whatever miner wins the block. But that goes down every 4 years. The next one is called the halving. It's coming up in April of 2024. And that block reward is going to go down to just over 6 Bitcoin, right? So over time, by 2050, there are no more block rewards. So you need another incentive for people to keep spending money to compete and to mine Bitcoin, or the network loses its security, right? The network only works if people are competing to mine. And that's where greater transaction usage is so important. So for the first time ever, actually, about a month ago, we had multiple blocks where the transaction fees were actually greater than the block rewards. It was more than 12.5 Bitcoin. And that's a really important thing long-term for Bitcoin, because without a lot of that transaction revenue, miners won't have a way to make money, and they're not going to keep spending a bunch of money on, electricity and competing with each other. So yeah, we think that, all, not just ordinals, but L2s settling back to Bitcoin, everything that's building on Bitcoin, that's bringing all of this additional technology to it is really critical for the future of Bitcoin, because just straight financial transactions aren't going to provide enough transaction fee revenue to miners for the continued security of the network, 10, 20, 30 years from now.
So Alex, what's a long-term vision for Bitcoin, including the potential opportunities and challenges that may lay ahead?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think Bitcoin is the place that ultimately pretty much all of the crypto ecosystem is going to get built. There's going to be other chains around. I think Ethereum's done an incredible amount of innovation. It's going to be around. There'll probably be one or two others, at least that last. But fundamentally, Bitcoin is the oldest, the most trusted, the most well-known network. And so all of what we've said for a long time, for years, is that everything that's been built on these other networks is going to get pulled back over onto it. So yes, it'll start with today, NFTs, obviously DeFi. There's more asset value locked up on Bitcoin than anywhere else. And so, for instance, like a lot of folks in the Stacks ecosystem, where Hiro builds a lot of our dev tools, are working on DeFi bridges and lend protocols and all kinds of things today, because Bitcoin is decentralized global money, right? And it's all about evening access to the global market. Whether you're in the US or whether you are in Vietnam or India or Brazil or other countries that don't have as developed access to global markets today, Bitcoin really levels the playing field to all of them. And so as this technology gets built out there, you're going to see both those use cases for Bitcoin, the financial and the markets access on one side, and then that base layer for settling transactions back to, so that folks like us on Stacks who are building, if you're on Lightning, if you're in RSK, all of those L2s bringing that additional functionality to it, but still ultimately settled back to and secured by Bitcoin.
What are you seeing in the recent developer activity?
Yeah, it's been huge the last few months. So as soon as Ordinals started coming out, we saw a spike in activity both on the Bitcoin L1, but also on L2s like Stacks. So I think all of our tools within a few weeks of Ordinals coming out, we're seeing 50 to 100 or in some cases even 200% spikes. So, way more calls to the APIs that we make for Stacks and for Ordinals. Our smart contracts tools, we're all getting more. So it's really just led to a huge surge of interest. Some of which is from, new developers who are new to kind of Web3 and building on crypto, and a lot from folks who have been active developers in other ecosystems like Ethereum or Solana, moving over and wanting to build on Bitcoin as well. And similarly, you've seen like a lot of NFT projects and artists like Yuga Labs, who makes the Bored Ape Yacht Club, within 3 or 4 weeks, I think, had a project up on Bitcoin Ordinals. The Sappy Seals guys had the same things. So just a lot of interest really fast off. And what we've seen is sustainment. So it took 50 days to go from 0 to 1 million inscriptions on Bitcoin Ordinals. It then took another 50 days to go from 1 million to 10 million. So, from early on, people were like, oh, it's going to drop off. No, we've seen there's zero indication that this is dropping off. And if anything, the pace is accelerating and going into more of a logarithmic growth.
And finally, Alex, in the last minute here, what is Hiro's role of driving innovation in Bitcoin, and how is it contributing to the growth of decentralized applications?
Yeah, so Hiro is a dev tools company for building on top of Bitcoin and Stacks, right? We build all of the tools that you need to build full decentralized applications on top of these networks, and to bring all of this power that you want to use. So our goal is all just to enable builders. We spend our entire day talking to developers. Like I said, we build APIs for Stacks and for Ordinals. We build explorers for Stacks and Ordinals, the Hiro platform. You can check out and see everything that we do at hiro.so. But yeah, our entire mission every day is just to help people drive as much innovation and create as many cool new things as they can to onboard the next billion users into crypto.
All right, Alex, we appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.
Thanks so much.